This episode is brought to you by our patrons, such badasses and travelers of the space-time continuum as Carl King. Sir, I salute you.
Wow.
Ken Pate, thank you so much.
Sarah Gallagher, you have our gratitude.
Super Taft, thank you.
Thank you, Al Meyer.
Oh,
Hey,
this
Aaron.
is perfect.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
She had to say it.
I didn't have to. I could have been mean.
Binti Ali, thank you very much.
Thank you, Jenna Troska.
Thanks, Maria Luisa Pereira.
Nate, I'm sorry. That was a little weird in the headphones. Who did Jade just say?
I believe she just said Maria Luisa Pereira.
Okay, just want to make sure you did as well, yeah.
Thank you as well to Mike Matthews.
Carolyn Streckman, thank you so much.
Lacey Cochran has our thanks.
Tim Arnold, a.k.a. Forsworn and 7 Beers Ago, a.k.a. Tenno. Oh, I love the name so much. Thank you very, very much.
I like how no matter how we make this list, I swear to God, you always get Tedo.
I think I do. I think maybe I planned it out that way secretly just so I could say it.
Well, hey, thank you, Amy, for being cool.
Thanks to Christopher Platt.
Dan Rutter, our friend from Australia. Thank you very, very much.
I think you're supposed to do that in an Australian accent.
No, I don't think I am.
Thank you, Joe Roth.
Thanks, Joyce Rugg.
Carulis, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nicole Rawls.
Thanks, Sarah Fisher.
And thank you to Tanner Goodhue.
Hey, and thank you, Thomas Wagstaff. Thank you all for being our patrons.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. We literally could not do this thing without you, and we appreciate you. You're the best.
We love you so much. You're in the room every time that we record these. I don't know if you realize it. It's not a very big room, so we all get very close while we're in here. So I just appreciate every one of you and that you're all so cool to hang out with.
Thank you all so much, and let's get on to the episode.
Woo!
Hello, seekers, confessors, wizards, and sorceresses, and welcome to the Sword of Truth podcast, the chapter-by-chapter reread of the Sword of Truth series with a sassy craft brew on the side. I'm Nate, and I'm here with my 2-time traveling companions, Jade and Aaron.
Sassy.
Hey.
Hello.
Hello. And today, in front of all of you people, I declare that we will be covering part 4 of Dead of Bones.
Okay.
It was weird now. It's going to sound really cool in post. I promise.
The you people part?
Yeah, that part.
You people.
For all of you listening along on Audible, this section of the book is going to be from 1 hour, 35 minutes to 2 hours and about 5 minutes. That'll get you there. Everything we're going to talk about today.
I concur.
I'll get you.
That'll get you right there. That's the right spot, and that's where I like to be in. You
Right
know what
in
I
the
mean?
pocket.
Right in the pocket.
I digress.
You look like you had something to say. That's why I waited.
My mama taught me if you don't have nothing nice to say, don't say nothing at all. I have nothing nice to say to you people.
All right. Seems like we have our beers, and we're all set to go. So let's hop right into this thing.
Yeah, I'm starting to come around, as always. We've always had pretty good service here. The green-eyed monster. Green-eyed beast. It's the green-eyed beast. It's not
Green-eyed
monster.
beast.
It's definitely not
Just
monster.
got the nice bartender to like you. So, let's just be real cool today and just try not upset anybody else.
I'm cool every day.
All right, let's go. When we last left, Mariska, the creepy what's-in-your-sack lady, snuck into Abby's room at the inn and threatened to kill her daughter if she doesn't get the first wizard to follow her to Coney Crossing the next morning.
Yes.
Which, with a knife, too. She threatened her with a knife that she was going to kill her daughter, probably with the same knife.
I would
She probably has
assume.
more than one knife.
They always do we talked about it in the last episode, so we don't have to go too deep into it here, but she did do the whole, and then I'm going to stab the person so that the other person sees the other person hurt, and then I'm going to kill that person. And it's just like that. You're not really going to do all that work. I don't think you're going to do it.
That, and it's not original. Everyone does the I'm going to make you watch thing.
It's bad guy monologuing.
Find something new.
He made me watch.
I don't always got to do these remakes.
So we arrive at the next morning. Abby is heading up to the keep with Delora and the Mother Confessor because the first wizard has agreed to see her. She's finally going to get her fucking meeting. This is a big deal. And starts the reader thinking that maybe he's not such a bad guy after all. He heard her plight and accepted.
Well, and as a reader, we know that, he has a child that is also in a, similar, if not more dangerous situation than Mariska. So not Mariska, Abby. So
Abby.
like, his perspective a little bit on this. So, and that he can't just upend the army to go save one little girl just because Abby's upset with it.
He does have a whole war to consider.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But it does work to make Abby feel shitty about what she has to do.
Well, it does say that, like, she feels bad, but then her actions don't always follow what we're being told she's feeling. Want to lay groundwork on that early.
She's saving her kid.
No, I know.
Yeah,
I know.
Interesting. There is a moral, kind of line that gets toyed with a lot in this book. So I fully suspect we all have different opinions at one time or another.
Oh, yeah. Depending on, where you're at, there is no right or wrong. All three of us can be right, and all three of us could have vastly different opinions.
But
it depends on if you're looking big, you're looking, macro, micro, greater good, lesser good, all that stuff.
Yeah.
Delora asks Abby if she's feeling all right because she is looking a little rough.
I wonder why.
Well, she says that she just didn't get enough sleep last night.
That'll do it.
Yeah, so she, the tired eyes.
Oh, yeah.
She totally skips the part about being involved in a plot to kill the first wizard. Just probably must have forgot, because of the lack of sleep. I hear that happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, they say, if you're going to take a test, the worst thing you can do is stay up all night cramming. You're better off going to sleep. And then, Abby tried to cram last night.
That's why I have a horrible memory.
Yeah, that's why.
Well, as they walk, people fall silent. Abby actually does see Thomas, the wizard who was arguing with the first wizard during Abby's first visit. He's grumbling to himself. He's holding papers with magical symbols on them. Still upset, apparently, at being told off the first time. I just thought this was a great little comical moment. It's just funny that she's like, I wonder what that fucking guy's deal is.
Well, and especially because in front, he got kind of shown up in front of a whole room of people.
Yeah,
so,
that's true too.
Of course he's still holding on about that. I would have probably gone to the bar and started grumbling about it.
That's a really good point, actually. Now he's on a mission.
Yeah.
No, I got to prove him wrong. Well, near the end of the rampart, Delora knocks on a door and doesn't wait for a reply. She just goes in because he never hears her knock. She doesn't say who it is right away. The room is filled with boxes and substances and books with symbols and food everywhere. And we find that this is where Zedd lives.
Yeah.
It's his place.
It's perfect though, right? I mean, everything that's in the wizard space.
Oh, yeah.
Just weird things everywhere, substances you probably shouldn't touch. It's Zedd, so obviously there's going to be food.
Oh, most of those substances are food.
Are just leftover food.
Yeah. He's experimenting on pickling different things.
So when I read that and thought, oh, magical substances, probably a glowing jar of something up on the shelf. It's no, it's something sticky on the floor. And I don't know if it's cheese.
It's brine. It's just brine.
Just straight brine.
It might be magic brine, but it's just brine.
It is interesting that both his conference room where he met her in the first place and here it is very much the same vibe. He doesn't have like I'm clean, like this is my front that I'm putting on for people. You know what I mean? Because like the room that she saw him in initially with all the people was also just chaotic.
Oh, it was
and
the same
crazy
way.
and filled
Yeah.
with things. So he doesn't like put a front on for other people. It's not like a lot of people who like, this is my secret chamber. This is where I'm comfortable. No, that's just that he is who he is.
That's
everywhere.
right. He knew they were showing up that
Yeah.
day and didn't clean up.
Yeah.
He's much too busy for that shit.
Yeah.
Well, the first wizard is seen reading a book at his desk when they announce Abby's entry. He says, "Bags, woman!" I heard you knock, as I always do. And then turns to Abby and gives a pleasant welcome. Hello.
I love how matter-of-factly Abby is told, hey, I had to knock on the door, but we're going in anyway because he never hears the knock. And immediately, Zedd comes in going, I heard you knock. This is what Terry's good at. It's a small little encapsulation of who these people are at their heart. It's like,
Oh, yeah.
Zedd always hears, but because of this interaction we get, he doesn't usually acknowledge that he ever hears because that's not important.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
He just knows they're going to come in anyway, bothering him or coming in for a good reason. So why respond? But
Because
then,
they're coming in anyways.
but he's smart enough to be like, no, the knocking means you're coming in. You don't have to announce yourselves. That's why I don't respond to the knocking because you come in anyway.
Also, we set this meeting. I knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And
Right, exactly.
And
You're my 9 o'clock.
And I think there's like an undertone of like, we know that both the confessor and the sorceress came up to him last night after he got done talking to everybody else. And we were like, hey, you got to do this thing. And they probably, their relationship obviously is comfortable with each other. So they were probably like, I don't give a shit. You have to do it. Like they probably bullied him a little bit in a night, in a friendly way. Like, no, we think you need to do this. So he's giving it back a little bit. Like,
Oh, yeah.
like, yeah, you guys are in charge. I fucking know. Okay.
That's
I'm doing
why
what
he
you
didn't
wanted
clean
to.
up.
Good point, too.
Yeah.
He just said, fuck it. You're coming in my mess this morning.
Yeah.
That's on you.
I don't want you here.
Exactly.
You want you here.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah.
Is the comic version of this is where Zedd's just like, I just don't want you in. That's why I don't answer the door, but you just come in anyways.
Yeah. You forced me to have this meeting.
Yeah.
God damn it. That was the vibe I was getting.
Well, at the very least, she's nervous and is humble. She thanks him for seeing her because lives of innocent children are at stake. The first wizard responds in I'm going to say weird, but like also kind of cool way. He responds by asking her where the line is exactly that a life becomes less valuable. Why are the lives of children being at stake held higher than the lives of everybody else? And it's just like, this is our first official meeting when you're not totally overwhelmed, and I'm going to throw you for an absolute ringer.
I loved it because it's so much like, I feel like a lot of times things like children or I don't know, there's a lot of things that get thrown up as kind of a shield or this is you can't argue with this. It's a child. These are children that are at stake. So why would you even argue about this? This is a stated thing. And if you argue against this, you're a fucking monster. And I think that it's valid to be able to be like, hey, no, we can question that. Where is the line? Why do those people deserve more safety or protection than other people who have lived 20, 30 years?
Yeah.
Just because, yes, they have their whole lives ahead of the other people have lived their whole lives and still have more to live. Why do they not matter?
Yeah, one could argue the older person has a bigger stake in the world, has affected more people, and is, currently holding up a part of society where the child has not yet. But they have the potential to do so. So, I mean, everybody's important.
I do think it's interesting, considering that we know somebody's thoughts, the author's thoughts maybe, on life versus choice. So it's interesting to me that he is making a point here of being like, where is the line? Who matters more? Considering that there are very, very young, quote unquote, lives at stake in one scenario that are being treated as more important than the other.
Yeah.
And it's flipped.
Well, and as I say, I have a few things I want to add, but there's one more line that needs to be said before I want to add my thing. So do the don't worry. I'll hop in, but I'm holding
good.
my turn for the moment.
Okay. In short, Zedd says, don't play on my emotions by using kids. All life has value, and dead is dead, no matter the age. He asks the MC to report on the council. She says they want it done. It being the crazy spell that will end the war.
Which, like we said, we discussed, we believe is the whole unleashing the underworld.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
The first wizard says, apparently the council doesn't even care about kids as long as they're Daharan. Nobody cares because they don't have to do it. He does.
That. All right.
That right
I am
there.
no longer holding my turn. This is why it's such a beautiful, kind of what you were saying, Jade. Like, this is something that it's like at surface level, your first thought is like, no, you can't argue against or where the line is, because the whole thing is like, if you're not with me, you're a monster. But then there's this extra part where it's like, all right, let's settle where the line is. Let's even have that debate and say 8 years old. And then you say no one under 8 should be killed. But then you go into it and be like, what about the kids of the bad guys? They're still under 8, so they're innocent, right?
Yeah.
Not going to kill them.
Yeah.
But now they're lumped in with the bad guys, and now there is no age line. You know, so it's like, it's such a fascinating, philosophical thing here. This could be a little bit of a downer, but just this morning, I was on my phone and I stumbled across a drone video footage of the crisis in the Middle East right now.
Oh.
And it was a drone shot of a Palestinian child being shot because he was trying to help another Palestinian child that had been shot. And it's just one of those things of like, yeah, they're on the opposite side of you, but like, what did those kids do?
Yeah.
They didn't do anything.
Yeah.
I'm sure they would fall under most people's age lines, but they're on the wrong side, so now they're bad. We discussed the powerful spell being maybe equivalent to a nuke. Like there is a lot of things that are very relatable, still, even though this book was written, 30 years ago? 20 years ago?
Roughly 20, yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great entry point into discussing bigger things because you don't realize you're discussing the bigger things. You just think you're talking about this fictional book series.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great. That's one of the things I really enjoy about these books is they do make you think about bigger stuff, even when you don't realize it.
It's interesting to me. And also, I think this would be another Sneaky Terry moment because this is one of the things that was in there that he was just like, hey, think about that for a minute.
Yeah.
And it's honestly another thing. We could do an entire episode just talking about this.
100%.
This
And
one
I
question
think that we
right
will.
here. Where's the age line? That could be a whole hour. That could be a lecture series.
Because really, I mean, I don't know that anybody's going to come out right on that, but it is just interesting to debate and think about those ideas for a little while.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I got to find my spot back. Zedd is talking about the fact that whatever this spell is, he's the one that they want to perform the action. And so they can kind of not think about what the end result, even though they may desire the end result. He's the one that's going to have to be the bringer, the wind of death, I guess we'll call him.
And I think that's the second question, or maybe not question, but the second concept is that a lot of people can have a lot of big ideas about things when they aren't tied to it directly.
Exactly.
Either doing the thing themselves or having it done to them. You can say and think all these things and concept that you want, but when it's you that's having to do the thing or face those consequences, it's different. And so, I don't know, it adds a whole nother layer to it. Like, yes, we can all have your very strong, hot opinions, but if you were in that seat, you might make a different choice, whether you believe that to your core or not.
I mean, that's what it comes down to. Zedd has to make the choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can have this discussion, and then the tough choice we have afterwards is what toppings we're getting on our pizza later. Zedd's having this discussion and then going to go do the thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, that's a very different situation to be in.
Well, he stares at Abby profoundly a moment before he asks to see the bone. And Abby...
Show me your bone.
Abby says...
Whip out your bone. I'm sorry. Continue.
Abby says, maybe this will mean more to you than saving innocent people. But she ditched the kid argument, though. I mean, so maybe a little bit credit because he did strike that one down immediately. But Abby reaches into her bag and pulls out not a dumb fucking jug she made, but her own mother's skull, handing it to the wizard and says, "This is a debt of bones, and I declare it due." So if you could just do that would be real great.
And she had to dig it up too. It's not like it like magically popped into her. Like you know, you think in a book of magic, something shit like this would just like pop up onto her desk. Like once her mom died or whatever, she would just have like the skull just cleanly popped up on my desk and was like, "Hey, I have a bone debt." Ha 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 ha. But no, she had to dig this shit up and pull it out of the ground because she knew that there was a bone debt and she had to do that.
I was just trying to consider whether sorceresses, especially a sorceress that had a known debt of bones going on, kind of a thing, do they get buried? Is there like a
It says she had to dig her up.
Burn the bed. It did. Oh my god! So she had to. Oh fuck! Wow. Fucking.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I just.
Yeah. And you gotta hope that you did it. You waited.
You gotta hope
you waited long
like,
enough. You know.
So she doesn't even know this. Her mom just told her, and then she died. But like in the back of her head, she's like, sorceresses are mysterious. They don't really always divulge all the information. So really, we're not even 100% sure if this debt of bones is actually active right now, because it might have had something to do with her mom dying. You don't know. She didn't tell you.
She told her that it passed on.
To me, it seems like maybe we need to reset our way of thinking. And the only way I know how to do that, beer.
Beer sounds good.
Beer.
Let's
Actually, you know
discuss it
what?
over another beer.
You know what? I think I'm going to get a mead today.
Ooh,
you got mead?
I would love
Yeah.
one.
I know I just took the order, but can one of you go get it?
No.
Fuck. All right, I'll be back.
We are going to take a quick break, and we'll be back right after this.
Hey, Aaron, I think that this is a wonderful opportunity for you to try to improve the relationship between you and Maggie. I need you to ask her fucking nicely what kind of meat this is.
Okay, I'll try. Okay. Excuse me, Maggie. What kind of mead is this that you've given us? Please.
This mead's from Adesanya Meadery, okay? I gave you the bottle. Just read off the bottle.
Thanks, Maggie. Is this what you wanted?
Yeah. You know what?
Maggie. You know what? I'd say progress. I'd say
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I feel better that
minimal
we've got,
amount of progress.
that we've-
Progress.
Hey, we've got the mead, I guess.
This bottle says, that is very tiny writing, you need glasses.
You want me to read it?
Some of us remember growing up on a particular variety box of instant breakfast deliciousness. For those of you that don't, this is our take on that bit of nostalgia. Share, sip, and enjoy. By the way, this bad boy clocks in at 14%.
Oh,
So-
buddy. Maggie didn't say the name of it.
Oh, this is raspberry and chocolate old school breakfast from Adesanya Meadery.
This smells real good.
Instant deliciousness.
You want to know something funny? The instant breakfast that I think that they are referring to, my dad would give that to us when we didn't feel good and we couldn't eat a lot of food. And it was like the instant breakfast stuff. And so I didn't like them. And I think I have blocked out the flavor profile of those in my brain because I only got them when I was like sick.
It comes on strong. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Very strong.
In the first 1.5 seconds, I was ready to give this a 3. However, that settles nicely.
Yeah.
I really enjoy the long aftertaste that comes in. And I feels like maybe I'm saying it like I don't enjoy it, but I really do.
It's weird because the first hit
Yeah.
of the flavor, I'm not a big fan of. But the aftertaste, the thing that lasts a lot longer, that's great.
It's like it needs to settle.
Yeah. I don't
You
know.
know?
Maybe we waited
is
too long to drink this
interesting.
bottle or something. But like, man, it's good.
This is what they're talking about, I'm pretty sure.
The Carnation Instant Breakfast, I still
okay.
have those for breakfast today.
Yeah.
I literally had one this morning.
We only got them when we were like sick. So
Oh, fascinating.
So what do you guys think?
I think I'm going to give it 6 Pop-Tarts.
6 Pop-Tarts.
I think that even though the after effect lasts for like 5 seconds, I think that first 1.5, I'm conflicted to take a second sip, even though I know I'm going to like it eventually.
I'm going to be honest with you now. I'm not really digging the smell. I think I'm going to give this one a 5. I think it's very good when it tastes good, but there is something in there that I'm not digging. And so I think it might balance each other out. Middle of the road 5. It's fine.
I think a lot of meads have this the sour that hits you really hard.
Almost like a tart bite.
Right. And you have to either like that or take that into account when drinking it. So I think I'm going to give it like a 7 probably.
Okay.
Because when it's in my mouth, it's a strange experience that we're on. When I swallow it, I'm happy. I know I don't really hate it that much. I think I just need to drink more meads. And hey, we're here in the Midlands, so I'm going to my tongue will attune. It'll be great.
That's right. We're probably not going to be able to find this anywhere else.
Yeah.
Except maybe Granville, Michigan.
Whatever.
All right. Well, why don't we get back to the book?
Let's go. Shing!
And we are back. And we're actually back to the front cover of the book.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the scene because Zedd actually has the skull in his hand and is considering it.
And there's a woman there too.
What it doesn't really show, at least I didn't think in the art, was that Zedd, the first wizard, we don't know him as Zedd quite yet. We know his name is Zedd. We know this is who it is. I've been trying to just say first wizard until they were actually introduced.
Yeah, we know that this is Zedekiss Zulzarander, the first wizard. He's never been addressed as we know him as just Zedd yet.
Yeah.
I don't think. Maybe Thomas has. I don't know.
It's kind of like she's meeting a president. Like you try to use some, I guess, formality. Maybe not. I don't really know.
Or at least like
somebody of importance.
Head of whoever, like, I guess, if we're saying that this spell would be like nukes, then, it would be like, this is the guy who holds the key to the nukes.
Yeah,
pretty important. Yeah.
Well, he is very shocked because normally you don't have to bring a whole skull. You just need a little piece of it.
Yeah.
Just a tiny piece, smaller than a grain of sand would be enough, but that would be really hard to keep track of. So that wouldn't be very practical.
Sax famously not great at holding tiny particle-like things.
And after our last discussion, just before we went to break, the whole thing about having to actually dig up her mom and like do the whole thing, what would be the easiest? Like, if you gotta look, if you gotta cut something off, what's going to be the least horrible way to go about doing that? Abby had to do that. I didn't consider any of this before. Holy fuck, this is horrifying.
It is horrifying. But also, what better way to show the gravity of a situation than having him hold the skull of somebody in his hand and be like, this is real people. We're dealing with real people. You know,
that's interesting too, because then she didn't just show up with a little chip of bone. She was like, I took her whole head, motherfucker. This is what I'm trying to impress upon you.
Yeah.
It's very important.
And then he's holding a skull of a person in his hand while he's having to weigh the weight of the dead bones and her, request.
Wild.
I think it's 2 things, and I think that's absolutely part 1. I do think part 2, though, is that she did have to be, think of like, because she goes, my mom never told me the specifics. She just said, I got to bring you bone. I didn't know it was only to be a sliver. So I'm also thinking like she has to think of like what's the easiest bone to transport, where it's like tiny little finger bones. Those could get lost.
Yeah.
Pelvis, that's kind of big. But skull, it's just a nice little him. That'll fit in a sack.
Round ball. Yeah. Perfectly in a sack. And also it's significant. This was her head.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel like I'm going to take the shoulder. I don't know.
Kneecap. Kneecap is also a nice little handful.
Yeah, there you go. That would have been nice. Big enough to not just lose.
But I think that's where the first part of, hey, no, I'm picking the head. This is a person. This is not a
That's
kneecap.
right. A reminder that it was a human being. Yeah.
This is almost a face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You could still look into their eyes, technically.
Exactly.
Even if it's a skull, which does make it real. I agree with that. It would add some significance for me, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And you can also puppet it. Or whatever.
Could you imagine if Zedd was like, hey, House, what's up? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Oh, that's funny. And just in front of Abby. And she's like, the fuck are you doing? He's like, oh, this is how wizards do things.
Hey, I have to imagine. We looked at the map.
You got a dead boat? Yeah, I do.
If where we think Coney Crossing is where it is, and Aidendrill is where it is, that's a long trip. It doesn't sound like Abby has a lot of money. She's got to pay for travel somehow. And I'm thinking
God.
she went tavern to tavern doing a quote-unquote 2-woman show of her and her mother.
Wow.
That's the origin of that's the Jeff Dunham story, right?
Yeah.
That's where Jeff got it. Oh, that's disgusting, you gross, sick fuck.
That's her mom.
That's her mom. And if there's one thing I respect, it's people's moms.
Well, beneath the first wizard's fingers, the bone starts to glow. This is the test. He confirms that, yes, it is a debt of bones, bound by the magic invoked until it's paid. And Abby is like, ha! I told you! But the first wizard says, it doesn't have to be paid right now. But Abby declares that it does.
Yeah, motherfucker. Like, I don't want to keep dragging this on. And also, my child is in debt. And also, I might not have a descendant for it to pass down to. So this is my one chance to cash in.
Yeah.
Give me my prize.
But then, the flip side to that is now she's raised her voice and made a demand of the first wizard. And then she prepares to die for running her mouth to said first wizard. But luckily, the mother confessor is there and just cools everybody down and it moves the conversation along by asking what else he knows about the test.
I did think this was a bit interesting because there's a little bit of back and forth where Abby is revealed to not really know much about this whole process, but then makes demands as if she knows exactly what the fuck this process is. And Zedd counters it every time of like, you brought me the whole skull? Didn't need to. And she goes, well, I didn't know. Like, well, you got to pay the debt. He goes, no, I don't. Yes, you do. I know what's happening. You have to pay it right now. And he goes, you didn't know you didn't need to bring the whole skull, woman.
Yeah.
No, I don't have to fill it right now.
And we know that her mom didn't tell her anything else about this. So she really does not know. It actually, now that you bring that
She's
up,
desperate. I get it. She's desperate.
Very desperate.
Yeah.
But it is a little funny that she has such conviction on some of the things she's saying because we know she doesn't really know.
What the fuck is the point of a debt of bones if you could just keep telling me, I'll pay that later.
Great point.
And you could die and the
Also
next person
true.
can die. Like, especially when there's magic involved. Like, I would have, what's going to, I'd be like, motherfucker, what triggers it then?
Yeah,
How do I trigger this debt of fucking bones, bitch?
That's the flip side of it, is Abby doesn't know that Zedd is for sure telling her the truth, right?
That's true,
This
too.
first wizard could just not want to pay the thing. So he's like, oh, my wizard power tells me, oh, I've got 1,000 years to pay this. Like, we're good.
Yeah.
She doesn't know, so she needs it now.
I've
She can't wait.
definitely picked up conflicting vibes on like how Abby feels about magic. Clearly her mother was a sorceress, but even then, like, I think there was a quote in there where like she talked about how her mom even told her like, careful with people with magic, so that's I can see where she's confused and I can see that. But this woman makes a lot of demands on stuff that she very clearly does not know what's going on.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying at this point, like, I would be like, what's the point of a contract?
And that's,
right?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, the whole
Yeah.
thing is you have a debt to pay to me. And if you could just keep giving me an IOU,
Pushing
then
me off.
then it's not nullified. Like, right? There's no fucking point. So pay up or wizards are all shit and I'm going to go in the street and tell everybody.
Now I am thinking
They
of
ate shit.
I am thinking of Dumb and Dumber now, where Zedd just goes, now this snaps paper is a perfectly good IOU.
Yeah.
Oh.
And you just cash that in later.
You just check it out. Every dollar accounted for.
Yep,
Yeah.
it's all there.
What he knows about this debt, he says it is the same one that his father told him about. It does belong to Abby. These are things we know for sure. We have the right players in the right place. But what the debt was for must have slipped his mind. Dolores says, and you dare to call sorceresses taciturn. By the way, taciturn. Adjective. Reserved or uncommunicative in speech, saying little. I had no idea what the fuck that was.
Nope, never heard that word in my life
I was
before
like,
this.
Does that make it a bad joke? When she's like, and you think sorcerers? I was like, no, that's a smart person joke. I just didn't know that word, so I didn't get to be in on it the first go around.
As we all know, jokes are funnier when you have to explain them.
That's right. You've said this several times.
Yeah.
Well, the first wizard turns to the mother confessor and says, the council wants it done, do they? He smiles a grim smile. I'm going to say that again. He smiles a grim smile.
Yeah, I didn't feel great about that.
Yeah.
So far, this has been a young guy who's like, oh, he's the wind of death. Don't worry about that. It's just to sound scary. And then you go in there and he's all like, yeah, I'm logical, but I'm not a dick. And then he does the villain face and you're like, whoa, what's that? There's a turn coming. What's happening?
Yeah. There's definitely two conversations happening, and not everybody is privy to all of the information in the room.
But the main point of what this weird grim smile is that he agrees that the weird big end the war spell, he's going to do it. He says, well, if they want it done, then it's going to be done.
And he just made that decision based on this dead of bones, which is interesting.
Yeah, off his conversation with Abby, which kind of triggers Abby because she, for the first time in the book, is refusing to take the back seat. No, she finally has her audience with the first wizard. The first time she was in the chamber, there was a lot of conversations going on at once. This time, there are two conversations going on at once. And when Zedd turns to talk about the council, Abby gets upset and she's like, hey, are you going to do my thing or not? She still doesn't see they may be intertwined.
And we've been listening, and granted, she has her kid on her mind, so that's what's taking up a lot of her mind. But she has not been listening to what's going on around her, very obviously, because they've been making very clear references to the fact that a lot of children are going to die, the underworld might come back because of this, the council wants it. And he just said, I'm going to do it. And she's like, yeah, well, whatever about your other fucking thing.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Yeah, don't care at all about that. What about my thing? Which I get. Your kid's in danger. Let's take care of it. But also.
And I love his answer because he's like, well, you called it due. There's nothing that I can do against that as a humble first wizard. It was your call. So if you say it's due, it's due.
The monkey's paw has curled. Hey, Abby, I'm going to help you protect your daughter.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm going to do. Because that's what you asked.
That's exactly what you asked for.
Not saying you're going to get what you thought you were asking.
Yeah. Hey,
but
Abby,
I am going to protect your daughter.
I am going to help you. Help me, help you, help me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's what, I get that it's a relief to her that that's going to happen. But also, as I'm reading, my hackles are raising.
Oh, yes.
Because he's been so, against all of these things. He's been against going with the council. He's been against honoring this debt. And then all of a sudden, in 2 seconds, when we didn't even see what happened,
now he's going
he just
full
tested
in.
it and he was like, okay, yeah, that's true. Yeah, you know what? Fuck all my other plans. Fuck all my other thoughts. Yeah, this is all good. Yeah, we're going to do that. And he's smiling about it. He's all happy and cheery, and he's too happy about it.
Smiling grimly and then looking at Abby and saying, I was going to Coney Crossing anyway.
No, you
which
weren't.
is now, no, you weren't, right, for one. But for now, this is the second time that this has been said to Abby in roughly 10 hours.
Yeah.
Somebody grimly looking at her and going, I'm going to Coney Crossing. And probably having something of a bad idea in their brain.
Yeah, but that's the thing. You literally were just saying you didn't want to do the thing. So you didn't know if you were going to do it. And now within the conversation I'm here for, you're going to tell me you were going there anyways? I have questions,
You
sir.
do, but Abby does not.
I know.
Abby feels relief.
I know.
She's going to get the wizard to do the thing. He grips her shoulders and says, we're bound, you and I, in a debt of bones. His smile looked sad but sincere as he handed Abby her mother's skull back and says, please call me Zedd.
There it is.
Now he's Zedd.
Now he's Zedd. Which feels like this should be a happier moment, but we kind of just nailed in the coffin. Not a happy moment.
Yeah.
Because it's the same thing. like when you said your hackles got raised, that was what I thought. Like, I'm like, this is monkey's paw.
It does.
Good things are not about to follow.
It does feel like he's like, we can be friends now that we're going to die soon, which is not great. Outside, they were accosted by a crowd. Thomas has to talk to him. This is frustrated Thomas. He is still frustrated. Zedd says, talk then, and keeps walking, and the whole crowd follows. It's like now it's the first wizard's chamber, but mobile.
No worry for Homeland Security. We're just doing this on the street in front of all the people.
We just out here. Well, Thomas says that the spell that Zedd's about to do is fucking crazy, but Zedd never said it wasn't. Thomas says you can't do this, but Zedd says the council is making him.
And also, Thomas was kind of saying that I want to see if you can do the spell. Like, can you do the spell? I'm here on behalf of the council. At least that's what it felt like to me earlier, you know?
Yeah.
And as soon as Zedd showed that he could, all of a sudden now Thomas was like, wait, no, hold on, bud.
Now the council wants to do it. And now he's going, holy shit.
Yeah.
No, there's a whole lot bad with this.
It's like, I think it's one of those things where like, this is Terry foreshadowing. This is going to be similar to Abby. It's my prediction is Zedd's going to start doing what he said. And then she's going to go, wait, not like this though. Hold on. Not like this.
This is going to be a bad idea.
Yeah, well, he saw the grace, and now he's like, oh, we're perverting, like, magic when we're doing this, and that's not,
Yeah.
Ah!
Yeah, the grace was fucked up. That's a huge deal. Like, to magic casters, I guess, that the way that's done is imperative to the rest of the magic you do.
It's order.
So if it's weird, then you could fuck with, like, life itself. Thomas says, no, Zedd, you can't fucking do this. It makes intense heat. It's probably going to kill you or literally everybody else. And Zedd comes back with the best fucking, he's like, oh, you think casting a light spell that will rip the fabric of the world of life might cause an instability in the web field? You think that might happen, Thomas?
You think it might be fucking hot? You think?
You think the most destructive piece of magic you've ever seen in your entire life might be dangerous.
Well, and speaking of the previous analogy that we pulled from this, like setting off a nuke, this is a conversation that happened because you had a bunch of theoretical physicists talking about theoretical physics. And then it came to a time when the military said, okay, do a test. And they finally just like, okay. And like before they did the test, like the day of, one of the physicists was talking to one of the military guys, or this is more of the narrative played in the movie Oppenheimer.
Oh, yeah.
But they're talking and they go, yeah, or they start taking bets. And the military guy goes, what's the betting for? And they goes, oh, whether or not we're going to light the atmosphere on fire. And the military guy goes, what? And he goes, yeah, we don't know if it's going to do it or not, but you guys want to test.
You didn't ask the question, so here we go.
Yeah. And they said when they tested the first nuke, there was a non-zero chance that the atmosphere was going to ignite and continue to ignite exponentially.
That little word, non-zero, or the little combination, after I've started considering that, what that really means, it's like, no, everything is terrifying.
The world could have ended on that test.
Oh, fucking wild.
And that's what we have here.
But that's where Thomas is coming from. It could go really, 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 really bad.
Yeah, I don't like bad times.
And so I think before we get to the very potentially world destructive thing, why don't we just take a break and have a beer?
That sounds good to me.
We are going to take a little break and we will be back right after this. And we are back for the remainder of part 4 of Dead of Bones. Not a chapter.
Not a chapter.
Well, Zedd starts to walk away from Thomas, but Thomas says that he'll breach the grace, the thing we were just talking about. Not good to do that. He's not going to be able to control the spell, and his arrogance is going to kill them all. Thomas then demands to see the spell. He's like, you guys don't show me shit. You don't show me all the shit anyways. I want to see all the shit.
He wants the source. He wants the papers.
Yeah.
Because Zedd already showed him the spell.
Yeah, he can make the thing go, but he's like, I want to see the rules for all of this.
Mm-hmm.
And Zedd, I fucking love Zedd. Not as he only already done with this conversation by walking away.
Oh, yeah.
Then he just bops this dude on the nose by saying, Thomas, if you were the first wizard, then you could have access to first wizard stuff. Thomas, Are you the first wizard? Oh,
No.
you're not?
No, Zedd.
Well, then get fucked, Thomas. That's not exactly what he says, but it was the equivalent of that.
Yeah.
Thomas turns beet red, I guess is the point. Zedd says, sometimes all that's left is an act of desperation. I'm the first wizard, and I say we're doing it. And that's fucking that. Zedd has made his choice.
What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do?
Bitch.
Nothing.
First wizard, I got the badge.
Also the power. And I could just like walk over there and do it. So,
I love just now how you said, I got the power. And immediately I was reminded of the song.
I got the power.
Bum, bum, bum. Anyways. Zedd starts giving orders to prepare for a ride to Coney Crossing. They are leaving immediately. He's made his choice. Now there's no more sitting around. It's time to go. When a high-ranking officer wants the plan, Zedd says a Nargo, Panis Rawl's right-hand man, is the one sending death at them, and he is just going to send it back.
No big deal. Don't worry about
Super simple. Hey, all this bad stuff coming our way, I'm just going to turn it around. Super simple thing to do. Like, if it was that simple, Zedd, you'd have done it already.
it. He's going to go over there and he's going to say, I'm rubber, you're glue. Whatever you say bounces off me and sticks to you. And it's going to turn right around in the air and go right back at him.
I forgot about the spell.
Yeah.
Right after they
Yeah.
fire the first volley of arrows, he just real quick, I'm rubber, you're glue.
Yeah. and then it shoots around.
Oh man, that's so much better than what I had. I was thinking George of the Jungle, where they
Oh.
have that whole wrestling scene because there's the rubber tree and they bounce off it.
Oh.
He just turns all the trees to rubber. Yours is infinitely better. And I believe actual magic because magic can just be a trick, right? Some of the best magic is. And as a kid, when someone said that to you, fuck you.
It's the ultimate defense.
But now it just comes back
Got
to
me
you.
every
No, I
time.
just said, fuck me. God damn it.
Oh, that ruined days for sure. Well, the Nargo holds the crossing right now, but they're surrounded and they're not running. The question is, why? Zedd says he wants to draw them in, obviously, kill Zedd, and then the war is done. Then the bad guys win. Stunned, the officer asks, so you're going to go in there? You don't even know what the plan is exactly. You don't know you know what it is they're doing, but you don't know how they're going to go about it. You don't know anything else about the scenario. You don't know what the camp looks like. You don't know where the guards are, the scouts are. Like, you're going to get fucking killed for sure, wizard or not. And he's like, yeah.
This was a little bit frustrating to read because the way this is where it's like, because I know we've had this thing before where it feels like sometimes Terry's trying to hit a word count because it says, hey, what are you doing? I'm going to go do this thing. And then the guy he's talking to goes, so you're going to go do the thing? Yes, motherfucker. I just told you I was going to do it when you asked the first time.
We've been
Why
here
are you asking again?
all morning talking about this.
Yeah.
And you've been right here.
I think part of it is just to illustrate to the reader that Zedd knows he's being pulled in because it hasn't been illustrated yet. And so, yes, the double asking is annoying, but I think it's just to be like, oh, he knows and he's still going. And also, Abby's standing there listening to this
Yeah.
and like, she shouldn't know that
Yeah,
Zedd knows
yeah.
he should be going, but she's not listening to any of this stuff because she's so focused on her goal
Mhm.
that she doesn't realize Zedd knows what he's walking into now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And this is her clue to be in on the plan. And she's so focused that she has no idea. She's like, oh, we're just going to go there. And I'm following Mariska's orders, but Zedd doesn't know that. But
Mhm.
Zedd knows something.
Well, in the other part, we know that Abby does have more information, right, with the Mariska thing. But also, had she not had that interaction with Mariska, I very much feel like Abby would be looking at Zedd like, hey, I got my dad. He's going to sort all this shit out. I don't have to do anything. I got the guy. He's going to fix it. We're just going to walk over there. He's going to wave his arms because he's a wizard. Problem solved. What do we know about wizards, guys? They use people.
Oh.
So that Abby is here with Zedd we should know that that's not the way it's going to fucking go down.
Right. It was just interesting to me because, I listened to it very quickly. I didn't hear this part the first time, and I was like, oh, it is kind of a turn. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to, spoiler alert, but things are, we know that Mariska's waiting for Zedd.
Mhm.
So Zedd's not supposed to know that, but listening back to it and realizing that this little interaction did happen, there was an indication that Zedd knows it's coming.
Hey, as a first-time reader, you said it. My hackles are raised. I get the vibe that something bad is about to happen.
Okay, so I just now realized this. The little comment about Zedd saying he was going to Coney Crossing anyway. Do you think that's because he knows?
Oh, he knows that there's a plot to get him on the way to Coney Crossing?
He just made the offhanded comment, I was going there anyways. It's why?
Yeah. I think that's what you're supposed to
incredible.
do.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying because he states here, Anargo is trying to draw him in and kill Zedd. And we didn't have any indication that he knew that until until he touched that bone.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't talking about going there. He wasn't talking about any of this. And now, all of a sudden, he was going there anyways. And he knows that they were trying to kill him.
He claims he knew all along.
Yeah.
I knew I was going to go to Coney Crossing.
He figured out the plot at that point, I think.
Yeah. Now he has the wizard's equivalent of all the information.
Right.
Well, he turns to Abby and says, we'll ride hard and we'll be there soon. Cue Jade laugh. We'll get there in time and then we'll see to our business. Thank you very much for playing along. Abby could only nod through relief and the shame. She's walking him into a trap. But most of all, she was horrified at what she was doing because she knew the Daharan's plan.
Yeah.
So the complication here is that Abby is bringing the guy to help her daughter and also bringing the guy to help her daughter into a trap. So it really just depends which fucking trap springs first on whether or not your daughter gets saved. Congratulations. You've gone from 100% death to 50-50 at best. And if you just done the one thing, it'd probably be better than that.
I think that's kind of what I'm saying. At this point, she's kind of underestimating Zedd's knowledge. She's not paying attention to what's happening around her because she thinks Zedd is going in here on the back foot. But from what we can see, he's not.
We suspect he may have an idea about the plan, not through anything he said or really, through something he said, but it was just an offhanded comment. So there's really no knowing quite yet.
Right.
Well, they start making their way to Coney Crossing, and then this really cool thing happens. There's a line in the book, and then they just get to Coney Crossing.
Yeah. We spoke about this before we started recording because I told Nate that I thought I had a technical error with the Kindle version of this book because I was like, I am missing pages because we talked about leaving and then we arrived. That's never happened before.
Zedd just found a waypoint.
Yeah, he found a waypoint. You know what it is? We've been conditioned by
Fast
all
travel.
of these sort of truth books.
Yeah.
It's that's going to take weeks. And the reason that matters is because those weeks are going to be represented in chapters.
Mhm.
Now we're just all right, we got to go to the place, and we jump to the place. We're whoa, that happened way too fast. What the fuck? What was all the stuff in between? We got to know.
Now you're thinking with portals.
Well, I think part of it is we normally get interaction between our characters or something happens on the travel.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously this was a mundane thing, but it does lead you to, it doesn't because it pulls you through so fast. But if here, discussing it, pulling it apart, you're like, what did they do in camp?
Mm-hmm.
What did they talk about? I would love to know what kind of, do they just go to bed every night and while they're walking, they're just not fucking chatting at all? There's no backstory? They're not pouring into each other's lives or talking about the trees? What the fuck?
Sorry, everybody maintains silence and state of mood until we get to the place we're going. Stay
Exactly.
angry.
And I don't think it ever is explicitly stated how long it's going to take, but I'm assuming more than one day.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would imagine.
At least small talk would have happened.
Yeah.
They reach Coney Crossing. Apparently, nothing happened the whole way.
Nope, it was
there were
fine.
no talks. Nothing bad happened.
3
It
out
was
of
just
5 wouldn't change a thing.
Exactly.
No portals on the walkways.
But when they get to Coney Crossing, something is wrong. Everything and everyone is gone. Everything that could be eaten had been taken.
Saddest part.
There, by the way, no food either. You are not getting dinner tonight.
Family
by the
members
way.
gone, pets gone, livestock gone.
Bummer, but
But is the fridge full? It's not. Now it's a tragedy.
and her house had been left totally bare.
Dicks.
And again, no fridge in the house. They didn't have them back then, I'm assuming, but no like salted meat or anything in a storage
know
box.
what I meant.
Well, she heard everything happen from the cellar, and she didn't come upstairs so that she could go for help in case she wasn't found, right? When the house was sacked and everything, she had been here when it happened. Fucking crazy.
Wait, she was in the room when it happened?
The room when it happened.
In the room when it happened? Yeah, sometimes that's all people want.
Is to be in the room when it
To
happened?
be in the room when it happened.
It seems like it might have been cowardice. I mean, people are giving her eyes. You were hiding in the basement while your family was captured and taken away.
Yeah.
Well, I do think that spoiler alert for 10 seconds from now, Zedd's questioning is definitely accusatory, but then, yeah, right at the end, he goes, yeah, that was wise.
It was logical.
Yeah, you did the right
kept
thing.
yourself safe.
Which that brought me back to the whole where do you draw the age line thing. He's asking accusatory questions on purpose. He's not trying to judge, or he wants to know the thought process. He doesn't actually care about your answer. Like, he wants the thought process behind it.
And on top of all that, it must have been very difficult to do while she listened to her family be brutalized and like literally taken away. It just, okay, Jade, you've watched Lion King, you know, when Simba is like, Papa,
Rude.
and he's, it's that emotion. You're listening to your baby be taken from your house.
Yeah. It's the difficult part of it is that, in your adrenaline and in your brain, you feel like you could be a badass and kill everything if you needed to. But when, could you actually, is it better to try and put yourself at risk and stop the thing from happening? Or, in my case, I like to think I am a badass and I could, hurt somebody real bad. Actuality, probably not. There's a lot of people who are stronger than me and could just like bop me down real easy. So, in that situation, is it better for me to run out at an attacker and try and save my baby and then be brutally murdered? Or is it better to wait and have them taken away and then I can go after them with more strength? I don't know. Could you do, the strength of being able to sit there and wait is also something to talk about. It seems weak, but also that would be very hard to do.
Well,
I would rather die than let you take my baby, actually.
Yeah, I think that was Zedd's point. It is hard to do. It does seem weak, but it's hard to do.
Yeah.
Because it would be impossible. But there was a whole group of people, and she was just her. There's no way she would have survived had she gone out there.
Yeah.
It would have been certain death for sure. And she chose not to do that. Zedd does have a mind for the logical decisions, no matter how it looks. And I think we can all appreciate that about him.
Yeah.
She says they took everyone else into town, right? So it wasn't just like they kicked open the door to her house only. It was the whole town. And they took everybody else across the river. The enemy camp is set up in the hills just beyond. I don't know why Abby would know that.
Well, she probably could see them being taken. She
okay,
knows they were gone. So as she's sneaking out, she probably sees them take
She's
off.
opening the hatch door and watches them go. I can
Yeah.
see
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
I can see
yeah.
that for sure.
Well,
It
that
was just
and,
like she was there alone for a little while. She could have probably discerned.
There's probably a couple footprints.
She heard it quiet down and looked at them as they walked away.
Probably a trail of blood,
Oh yeah,
of like breadcrumbs, but blood,
gotta be a lot of noise
blood
too.
crumbs
A lot of crying and screaming. I
Yeah.
would imagine
coming from the hills.
Those
Zedd-
hills have eyes.
Zedd stares out across those hills with eyes and says to himself that soon this will be ended. Not a
Sup-
line from the movie, actually.
Super, and definitely has the vibe of being very positive.
Yeah.
And vague.
Yeah.
Well, Zedd checks the house and then tells Delora to ride back and tell the army to hold in place. If anything goes wrong, just attack.
Mhm.
Dahara must be stopped. I hate that this is the plan because he's like, look, I'm going to go do my thing. If my thing is successful, then we're good. If it's not successful, we have to fight the Daharans. And if we have to fight the Daharans, we know we're going to lose because of what it is they're doing and where we are. They've got a choke point. I've seen the 300. I know that works. That's what's happening here. So he's like, if my thing goes wrong, we're all dead.
Which I do take a little bit of solace out of the fact that this is a prequel. So I guess there's still a chance Zedd could die, but he comes back to life. So, like,
well, Abby survived the one raid, so Zedd, being a wizard, could probably survive a war.
Yeah, I know this is technically like book 6, but it's also, or, you know, it's book 1, but it was book 6. So, like, I know what happens after this.
Yeah. I mean, we saw the aftermath of this.
Yeah,
that's true.
Yeah. But that doesn't mean things might go bad and go horribly wrong still, but, like, I don't think he dies.
Well, she's clearly not happy about this, but in a surprising turn of events, she hugs him and begs him not to leave them without him as the first wizard.
Aww.
Yeah, it's very sweet. Delora, we get kind of a view of her as being, I want to say, the Verna, like very motherly, is there to comfort you if you absolutely need it, but is going to give you a tough fucking time of it beforehand. Yeah. And it's like, but she's still a human being. She's still been with Zedd probably a really long time and doesn't want to see him die either.
Yeah, she's compassionate but firm.
Well, what we know, like from what we know, everybody in the keep, they grow up in the keep, right?
Yeah,
so they've
true.
all grown up together.
Mhm.
Yeah, they've probably lived most of their lives together.
Zedd was raised by the Mother Confessor, kind of, right? We learned that earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Right. They have a lot of banter. And so I love how it ties back into Thomas. And he's like, and leave you with Thomas as the first wizard? Absolutely fucking not.
No.
You
Loves-
hear that guy?
Love sassy Zedd.
Well, the dust from Delora's horse fades away into the horizon as Abby and Zedd head down towards the river.
On
And
the
that-
road again.
Yeah, they literally...
Hey, thank you. You didn't pick quite so negative of a place to stop this time.
No, they're
Hey,
off on
we're-
the quest now.
Like, it's kind of not a great outlook, but, like, we're on our way to save the kid.
you have to have some bad things happen for your heroes to be motivated. So I know the last couple episodes are like, ending on sad spots, but now we've got a quest to take and a glimmer of hope. And baby, that's all we need.
Yeah, I think not only is that all we need, I dare say it's the truth.
Not only is this an audio medium where we couldn't see you physically drop the bombs, it is an audio medium. And so you did so silently and there was nothing to hear. I was totally enthralled by everything you were doing.
I'm a silent actor.
And if you would like to let us know what your truth is, write in your journey books to podcastatt@gmail.com or follow us on any of our social medias, which are delicious, by the way.
Glug, glug, glug.
You can also find us on patreon.com/podcastatt and subscribe to a tier of any amount. We've got ad-free episodes. We've got some live episodes, side quests. You get access to Discord. There's a bunch of shit on there that we really think you're going to like and would love to see you there.
Every tier is a happy tier. Bye.
Yeah, you hear that, Patreon? That's where your fucking slogan needs to be. God damn.
Every tier is a happy tier.
It's the fucking Bob Ross of Patreon content.
Well, I can't top that at all. So I would just like to thank everybody very, very much for listening, and we will see you real soon.